And it's Gordo here from Gordo's Games, and we're back for some more Digimon TCG. So apologies all, I know it's been a while and I haven't been doing as much content as I'd like to do. One of my teammates, Tepin, has been hitting that forefront, and his videos have been well received. We have just recently passed off a 500 subscriber marker, so much appreciated. We do appreciate any support you give us, because we do this for fun and just to generally chat with you all about what things are coming up for us. But I'm here with you today for a deck profile. So we're going into BT12 Wargreymon. I'm not going too much into it now, we'll get straight into the deck profile, but if you do like the content, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications so you know when this great content goes live for you. Let's get into it. So here we are, to go to the deck profile for you all now. So I'm going to start off with the eggs. Now this is really the big flex spot. I'm not going to over talk it too much. You can either go 4 of the draw power, or you can go 4 of the 1k buff, purely in the reasoning that it's your preference really. Some people like the draw power. I don't particularly like to raise up too quickly and lose my stack by swinging needlessly, but with this deck you can get away with it. So I think it really is your own personal choice, this one. I don't think anyone is particularly better. I'd always just prefer that additional 1k if I don't see any of the buff Argus. So we're going to go into the rookies now. So we run 12 rookies, and the lineup is pretty simple. Like most Argu decks, we run 4 and 4. So 4 of the promo Argu for the 2k buff. You can look to opt for the starter deck Argu, because it does give you a 2k when attacking security, or the player, which does with raid proc, and then you can swing again, get another 2k buff. But I prefer that the Argu, just in case I need to swing into body without the effect of raid. And then we have the new Searcher, just as a no-brainer. It can add a Tychemia, Greymon, and an Omni, so it's just great overall value. And it gives you an all turns 1k buff if you have Greymon, Omnimon in name. So that's pretty big when it needs to be. So just all around a great new search card. Does replace the BT5 Argu for us. Now there are other potential choices. You can look at like the other Argu one, which adds a Dragonkin and Greymon. It is black in colour. The only reason I don't like those is because of the fact that the better Greymons generally tend to be pure red, so with the security attack and the additional DP, etc. Moving into the last bit of our rookie lineup, Agumon X-Anti. This one over the black version is just inherently better. We don't run the U's in this list, so there's no reason for us to run the black one. And again, the issue of the consistency not being able to go into our red Greymons where needed can be pretty bad. So let's take a minute here, people. So this is the start of our level 4s, or one of. Sorry, I had to take a moment there. It just really hit home a bit. This going to 1 really hindered Black Wargreymon last set. It was made to hit this deck because this card is insane in this deck. 1 cost Metal Grey, potentially 0 cost on the basis you have the new Tychemias and that, or even if you had Cool Boys for instance. It's just obscene. I get why they hit it, but it still hurts me inside. I'm crying here. Let's move on to the next level. So we supplement the missing 3 Greymon X by the older Greymon X, which does give us the better protection clause because it's just removed 2s from source. It means it's more consistent to come off overall. So we do run 3 of that, which isn't too bad in this deck overall. Run 3 of the 1 cost Evo, well 2 cost gain of memory back, just for that quicker climb to our level 5s and 6s, so we can push the game as quick as possible because we are playing very aggro in this deck. And then 2 security Greymon, and then 2 of the play out of Tychemia if you don't have 1 Greymon. Overall, these are just my 10 choices with them. The 2 Tychemia one is just the fundamental. You do need to have at least 1 or 2, just so you can at least try and get a free Tychemia down, because it's great. And the security Greymon just lets you go a little bit more aggressive if you've seen your Metal Grey X, and you just want to try and get double checks. And we get to play down 3 Tychemias, so the forecast tie given a security attack +1 can be pretty big. So you can look to do a lot of checks in a quick succession with this deck. Moving into level 5s, some no-brainers here. The new Metal Grey has all turns once per turn. When an attack is redirected, or as the attack is redirected, you can play a 4 cost or lower black or red Tamers. That's Yu or Tychemias. So you do have the choice there, which is great. It has raid built into itself. and it also gives piercing as an inheritable to your Wargreymons, or Black Wargreymons, or any Greymon or Omnimon basically. I think it was Omnimon. I could be wrong on that part. Don't quote me. But yeah, it just allows for a lot of pressure. You know, your opponent can block, but you're going to be clearing out their stack because you can just raid into them if needed. So it's just a lot to handle. 3 Metal Grey X just purely because we just want to go as many checks as possible. We want to close out this game as and where we can. There isn't really a viable one for this type of style. You can go the old Metal Grey X, but we don't run reboot enough for us to warrant it. There is supposed to be a one of Ultras on there, but the image wouldn't load, so apologies for that when editing it. So there is a one of Ultras as well. But we're going to go into the level 6s now. So starting it off, we're going to go 3 Wargreymon into the 2 Wargrey X. I did try Black Wargrey X as an alternative as for the more control and defensive style, but not being able to go on top of the Wargrey, just a little bit of inconsistency, so I opted for the old Wargrey X. Being able to just go on top of it after you've done your raid, swing into security, gain some memory back, and potentially delete another body can be quite a big tempo push and control piece depending on the matchup. So handy little piece to have there. But the Wargreymon really put in the MVP work. Raid built into it. When Digivolving it gets reboot plus 3000 DP into the end of your opponent's turn. So because we can get blocker so easy from one of our new Tamers, it means we can sit there with a big body and block if needed, or we can just keep pushing for game because we are going to have a lot of DP, and the only thing that's going to really take us out is options. And then finally, to deal with some of those options, we do run a one of Wargreymon security +1 and no options activate. This one for me is more of a personal choice. There are still decks like security control, there are still things like mass Digimon, there is security bombs that we can hit which can potentially hinder us quite a lot. We have lost the pace we had from having Greymon X at full capacity, but obviously we're not as slow as, let's say for example, a Black Wargrey variant with when you're playing forecast for your level 5s all the time. So we're not as bad in that position, but we can't afford to just lose a stack and then try and start rebuilding all over again. We need to keep as much pressure going as possible, close out the game as quick as we can, and then just try and clear out their board as and when we can. So this is just in those kind of eventualities you do get a set control player or a mass Digimon player, you can just slow their plays down. Moving to the level 7s, now there are various options here, but I've only opted for the one of Blitz Omni. I feel like the deck has enough aggression and security check power to close out the game, and this is the kind of piece you need. It's basically a hybrid for game, if you want to see it. You can opt into the BT10 X-Antibody, because we do use the X-Anti option to play as a tech piece if you want to just close out for without checking the security, for instance. It's not a bad call overall, but I just found it wasn't something I need when in testing, so I just gone for the one of. Now moving into the lineup for options, we just run a couple here. So we do run to start with 2 Hades Force. The reason being, there is Hunter X, there is Cross Hearts, there's Old Force. There's still a lot of Tamers variant decks. There's new red hybrids, so potentially being able to shut off some Tamer hate is not the worst thing in the world. Plus it's a removal from security, and we can just clear boards with it as well. It just has a lot of versatility, and I think in this current meta, I do think it'll have a strong place. So I run it as a 2 of, not to clog it up too much. 3 memory boost purely for the fact it gives us more cards. It allows us to search for pieces. That's what we want to do. We're not running the Cool Boys in my variant here, so I'll use the memory boost to supplement for that. I couldn't really find space to put the Cool Boys in if I really wanted to. And we do run 2 X-Anti options here, just so we can go ahead and swing into, or we can evolve into our things if we miss some of the pieces. For example, like the Metal Greymon X, making sure we get the 3k buff if we do miss the other Metal Greymon. And finally, just our Tamer lineup. So we do run the Taikamias overall for this one. So we're running 2 of these security +1 if you've got 4 Digivolution Swords underneath it, just again for more pressure, just to try and close out the game as quick as possible. And then 3 of the new black Taikamia from BT12, which is start your main phase or on play, and on play. One of your Digimon with Argomon or Greymon in its name get 1000 DP and block until the opponent's next turn, which is pretty massive because it gives us the facility of blocker in generally what we would consider as still a red variant deck overall. Obviously it is red and black, but the way this has been built, it is going more towards the security attacks and trying to close out the game. So to be able to sit there with a blocker and stop any early chip damage can be pretty big and slow down a few decks' tempo. And then the other part to it is when you digivolve into a Greymon, you can tap to gain a memory. That's huge. That's basically your cool boy again, but in the form of the Tycomedes this time. You can opt to play both. I've just opted to just use the Tycomedes at this point. I may try and find space for the cool boy. It's just more search power, more memory gain, which allows us to extend out our turns. So there's always space for editing here, but I think from my testing, it's overall played to a good standard. It's closed out games pretty quickly. It's controlled the board well enough as well. And the deck itself is looking to be strong going into the meta. There obviously be tyrants like Beelzebub X-Antibody, which are going to be very difficult to deal with, purely based on their pace and their X-Antibody form being able to trash your security for warm and fuzzies is absurd. But definitely a viable deck. I would say Wargreymon is there as a tier 1 deck, and it would be the preferred choice over Black Wargrey X, I'd say, going into the meta. That hurts me to say, by the way, because I've always been a fan of Black Wargrey more than Wargrey. But definitely give this deck a try. Let me know what your thoughts are, and if you do have any input, by all means leave it in the comments down below. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications so you know when this content goes live for you. And catch you next time.